Welcome to One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the headlines at this hour. Defense Secretary Gibo Chodoro says the Philippines will not give up its claims or presence at Ayungin Shoal. In an exclusive interview on One News's The Long Take, Chodoro said the China Coast Guard deliberately provoked Philippine troops during the July 20 incident off Ayungin. He rejected claims that the assault was isolated, saying it could be part of a broader strategy by Beijing. The defense chief also cited timing of China's more recent aggressions, believing they are interconnected. Among them, the claim of Chinese scholars that Batanes is part of China through Taiwan, and the AI-generated video of a state media outlet portraying the Philippines as a monkey.
The Chinese don't do things at random. There is a grand opera, a grand script, a grand play. Everybody has a script. So this is part of it. It could also be that Xi Jinping, to solidify his hold, he would like perhaps to firm up his legitimacy and creating the scenario where China is under siege.
Catch the rest of the Defense Secretary's exclusive interview on The Long Take next week. That's via Signal Channel 250 HD and Channel 8 SD or through streaming on the One News YouTube channel. Moving on, police have detained 2 suspects in the slaying of vlogger Alicia Lipata aka Mima Alicia. The details from mobile journalist Jazz Paredes. Jazz, saan ba nahuli ang mga suspect?
Yes, Diego, kaninang pasado alas 8 nga lamang ng umaga ay nahuli na ang 2 suspect na salarin sa pagpatay kay Mima Alicia noong July 17 sa harapan ng bahay sa kanyang Caloocan. Ayon kay PNP spokesperson Allen Rico, ay nahuli ang 2 suspect, Diego, sa Mabalacat, Pampanga. At sila ay nasa kustodiyan na ng kapulisan. Sa ngayon, Diego, itong 2 suspect ay mahaharap sa kasong murder, violation of Section 28 ng RE 1059, at violation ng RA 9516. At na-recover din mula sa kanila, Diego, ay ang 2 hand grenade, caliber 45 pistol at 9mm pistol na baril. Sa ngayon, Diego, inaalam pa ng kapulisan sa kanilang investigasyon kung isa sa mga baril na ito ang ginamit nga sa pagpaslang dito kay Mima Alicia noong July 17. Diego.
Alright, Jazz, aside from yung 2 nahuli, may iba pa bang suspects na tinitignan nila? Like, for example, yung mastermind.
Yes, Diego. At kanina nga nung nahuli itong 2 suspect, isa yan sa mga raise na question kung mayroon na bang salaysay itong 2 suspect, kung mayroon bang mga nag-utos sa kanila, o sila ba ay perpetrator lamang mismo. Sa ngayon, Diego, hindi pa makumpirma sa atin ng kapulisan kung meron nga bang mastermind o meron pa bang sino pa yung kanilang hinahanap. Pero Diego, hindi daw malabo at mataas daw posibilidad na meron pang suspect o meron pang ibang tao na may kaugnayan dito sa naging krimen. Dahil Diego, kung babalikan natin, ay itong si Mima Alicia, bago siya makarating sa kanilang bahay sa Caloocan, ay meron pa daw itong pinuntahan prior sa pauwi sa kanilang bahay. At doon sa timeline ng events, 15 to 20 minutes pagkarating daw nitong ni Lipata sa kanyang bahay, tsaka pumasok itong 2 riding in tandem. Kaya titignan nila, Diego, there's a possibility na meron pang iba pang personalidad o iba pang tao na posibleng nagmamatsyag dito kay Lipata. Kaya naman siya yung nagbibigay ng impormasyon daw sa kanyang whereabouts. Kumbaga, posibleng hindi lamang daw 2 yung involved sa plano. Pero ito, Diego, ay sa initial na investigation pa lamang at lahat ng anggulo ng kaso ay kanila pang tinitignan. Kaya naman aabangan natin, Diego, yung magiging developments niyan within the day dahil nga nitong umaga lamang nahuli itong 2 suspect at makikita natin yung development lalo na kapag nakausap na itong 2 suspect. Diego.
Alright, let's move on to another topic. No? Yung supposedly alleged allegations na may media daw na naharas sa ASEAN. Jazz, can you clarify that?
Yes, Diego. Sa ngayon ay ayon sa PNP, sa Philippine National Police, ay inuulit namin nila na sila ay sumusuporta sa mga journalist sa kanilang sa sinumpaang patungkulin, freedom of expression, at palayang pamamahayag. At Diego, hindi nila masabi pa na this is a confirmed attempt to arrest. And paano yung altercation na nangyari dahil ongoing pa raw yung kanilang investigation. Ang pagkakakwento sa atin, what happened here was during the meeting with the ASEAN leader summit ay merong daw grupo na nagsagawa ng lightning rally noong pulong-pulong itong mga tao na ito with around 30 people ay dito na nila sinagawa yung biglaang protesta. Dahil nga walang permit ito, Diego, kailangan daw mag-enforce ng kapulisan ng appropriate measures to secure the safety and security of the area, lalo na nga walang permit ito. At doon na nga nangyari itong komosyon dahil sa ngayon, Diego, ito dong info no, na nalaglag nga yung camera ng journalist and maybe there's a possibility na there's no way to identify daw na ito ay part ng media and certain words were also said na from the journalist na meron daw curse words. Ngunit Diego, sabi naman ng PNP, hindi daw grounds ang pagmumura or yung curse words para arestuhin o ikulong ang isang tao. Pero nga Diego, sa ngayon na hindi pa na doon natin masabi na ito nga yung tunay na nangyari dahil under investigation pa until now. But sa ngayon, 6 na police daw ang na-injured due to the commotion and ongoing yung kanilang investigation nga kung ano yung tunay na facts nga daw sa likod ng itong mangyayari. Diego.
Alright, Jazz, Monday, SONA ng Pangulo, ano ang preparations ng PNP so far?
Yes, Diego, on the end of NCRPO, simula bukas ng hapon, 5 p.m. ay naka-full alert status na ang NCRPO around the NCR dahil nga this is in preparation of the SONA, while the QCPD naman ay mag-enforce na ng skeletal deployment on Sunday, which will be followed by a maximum or full deployment on Monday, 3 a.m., starting 3 a.m. For the Philippine National Police, yung kanilang nationwide deployment ay wala pa tayong balita kung kailan magpo-full alert, but this is only for NCRPO and QCPD. Pero Diego, sa ngayon, meron na tayong 3 grupo na nabigyan ng permit para magsagawa ng kilos protesta. Ayan ay ang grupong Bayan, Sanlakas at Better Brighter. Inaasahan na meron silang designated areas along Commonwealth area, so doon sila mag-hold ng kanilang rally. At sa ngayon, Diego, meron pa daw ibang mga grupo na naghain or nagpasa ng kanilang aplikasyon para magsagawa din ng rally. Ngunit there is still under review at oras na ma-approve ay madadagdagan pa. Ito nga naunang 3 grupo na pinayagan. Sa ngayon, Diego, yung number ng deployment is still at 20,878, so more than 20,000. And the 10,916 dyan ay ang civil disturbance management personnel. So ito yung mga personnel na sila yung mga ngasiwa or magbabantay kapag mayroong kilos protesta. At bukod dyan, nakikipag-ugnayan na rin sila, Diego, doon nga sa isasagawang activity naman ng Iglesia ni Cristo kasabay ng isasagawang SONA ng Presidente on July 27, Monday. Diego.
All right, thank you for those updates, mobile journalist Jazz Paredes. At this point, let's see some stories from our media partners. On the Philippine Star, the Philippines reached upper middle income status, but it still ranks behind Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam in Kearney's 2026 Foreign Direct Investment Confidence Index. Investors value the country's talent, resources, and economy, but cite weak infrastructure and governance as major concerns. Experts say the income upgrade is an opportunity, not an endpoint, and that the country must improve on its weaknesses to attract more investment. Over on Business World, business groups support higher wages but urge the government to help them manage rising labor costs. The need for assistance is most needed by micro, small, and medium enterprises. To improve productivity, the groups call for less red tape, lower electricity and logistics costs, faster digitalization, and stronger investor confidence. The Metro Manila wage increase will proceed as scheduled on July 25. Employers say they will absorb the costs despite reduced margins. For more details of these stories, you can visit the social media pages of the Philippine Star and Business World. Do check out as well the social media platforms of One News PH for the very latest headlines. In the meantime, local financial markets are feeling the pinch of rising global tension, driving the Philippine peso to historic lows and putting a strain on local stock market growth. Anxiety over the local unit spilled right into the stock market, causing investors to pull out their money from local companies. The main stock dropped over 1%, wiping away recent gains and dragging the market back down to a defensive 62.67.85. The peso weakened to close at 61 pesos and 75 centavos per US dollar, matching the all-time low previously recorded on May 18 and 19. This marks the third consecutive day of decline for the Philippine currency. Higher global oil prices and geopolitical tensions also weakened market sentiment. Analysts warn that everyday consumers should keep a close eye on their household budgets as the market braces for a bumpy ride. On a much lighter note, Bangsak, a classic Filipino game, is getting a high-tech upgrade. And it's all thanks to a group of student developers from Ilocos. It's hide and seek from the streets to the screen. Mobile journalist Daniel Dayao will tell us more.
A Filipino childhood game is getting a new life online, as a group of Filipino students from Ilocos turned the traditional game of Bangsak into a multiplayer video game. Officially called Bangsak Water Rising, the game aims to introduce the Filipino game to younger players today, in hopes of preserving the tradition even in the digital age.
Pinaka-goal po namin is to educate yung mga young generations about may ganitong game pala tayo or may ganitong game pa kami. Ano mga bata kami nilalaro namin. Puro mobile games na lang sila, hindi na sila lumalabas. The way we promote or preserve our tradition is to, pag hindi natin sila parang napapalapit sa mga traditional game, lalapit na lang natin yung traditional game sa medium na alam nila, which is yung mobiles or mobile games, computer games.
But how does this version work? Just like the original game, players are divided into two sides, the seekers and the hiders. This time, however, the map slowly floods, making the playing area smaller.
Sa digital game po, hindi po kasi parang catchy yung one game lang. Kailangan po ng replayability at repeatability. So we decided to add more features to the game while keeping the core intact. One of which is yung parang nilagyan namin siya ng PUBG mechanics wherein it is a battleground. Yung tubig or yung buong map is unti-unti siyang na-flood, so lumiliit po yung mapa. Yun yung parang naging twist niya.
The characters also come with their own superpowers, and they're also inspired by Ilocano culture and folklore, including Ella, an empanada vendor, and Lamang, based on Ilocano mythology. There are also characters dressed in 90s, like Kael and Katala. Even the game map is also inspired by Lawag City.
Yung layout po ng game is based po sa Lawag, yung capital ng Ilocos. Lagi po akong bumibisita. Like, yung sulok-sulok po is tinignan ko kung ano yung mga building na andoon and nasaan yung exact places po and yung color palette na pwedeng gamitin po.
And while the team started developing Bangsak as college students with support from the DOST, they are now hoping to polish the game further and make it available online and for close beta testing before the end of the year.
Right now po, we are only able to play the games through local area network or using within the same network or Wi-Fi. So we are trying to re-architect our networking architecture so that it can work with within the cloud.
From the streets of their childhood to the digital world, these young developers are hoping for today's young players to experience the same joy of playing the game they once grew up with. Kapatid Mobile Journal, Daniel Dayao, we are One News.
We'll be back at the top of the hour for the day's headlines. I'm Diego Castro. For now, we leave you with the global headlines from the Associated Press.
This is AP News Minute. President Donald Trump honored the lives of 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East and returned to their families on Wednesday. Trump saluted as the 4 transfer cases were escorted off an airplane during the dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. A June 1st trial date has been set for former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to face drug trafficking charges in New York. Maduro and his wife have pleaded not guilty to charges that they aided drug dealers in a multi-decade scheme to ship large quantities of drugs into the U.S. Firefighters in central Spain are battling a massive wildfire that has burned over 32,000 hectares as the region also faces a dangerous heat wave. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez visited the area on Wednesday, urging political unity to combat climate change. And the Louvre's Apollo Gallery finally reopened to the public since last year's Crown Jewels heist. The public can now tour the majestic room and admire its gilded ceilings, but the collections and precious jewels, once displayed, have been removed.